Hello. Hi. Hi, friends. I am so happy to see you today. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you a little tired from Halloween? Did you stay up all night? Does your stomach kind of hurt from all of the candy you ate? If so, I bet it was completely worth it. I am so sad that I didn't get to see your awesome costumes. And I bet you all just looked super, super good. Now, on to the Sunday school business. Let's keep telling the story of Abraham and Sarah. Last week, we talked about those mysterious visitors. While Sarah and Abraham were at their home, working together to build their new life, they were visited by three people. Abraham and Sarah welcomed the guests. They were excited to see them, and they made some food and shared a meal together. During their visit, the guests told Abraham that in 1 year's time, when they returned, that he and Sarah would have a son. Sarah was listening at the door of the tent, and she laughed to herself. After all, Sarah was well past the age to have children. Do you remember how old she and Abraham were? They were 100 years old. That's super, super old. Sarah had faith in God, but she must have wondered, how would God keep this promise? Well, today we're going to talk about how God kept his promise and how Sarah and Abraham had to just keep strong faith and be patient and wait for God to keep that promise. We're going to watch a video that's going to tell us all about that. So let me pull that up for us. And let's watch.
Hello friends, it's Samuel. Do you remember how old Abraham and Sarah were? They were 100 years old. Whoa. They have been on a long journey of faith, believing in God's promises. They waited a long time to have a child, and they finally had a baby boy. His name was Isaac. They had been hoping to have a baby a lot sooner, but God makes promises happen according to God's time. What's so amazing about this story is that Abraham and Sarah waited and God's promise came true. They had faith to keep going, even when it seemed impossible. When Isaac was born, Sarah laughed. Maybe she laughed because she was happy. Maybe she laughed because this news was unbelievable. But Sarah's laughter was full of joy. Sarah had faith, and she finally got to see and experience God's promise right in front of her. Have you ever had faith or hope for something you really wanted? Was it hard? 1 year for my birthday, I really wanted to go to the park with my best friend, but it stormed all day and we couldn't go. I had waited all week for that day, and when it came, I was so disappointed we couldn't go. I was really sad. But the next day was sunny. I got to go to the park, and when I got there, all of my friends were there to surprise me, and we got to eat pizza. It wasn't the original plan, but it ended up being even better. Even though it was different and not what I planned, it still brought me joy. God answered Abraham and Sarah's prayer, but it looked way different than they imagined. Their journey of faith was long, but worth it because they had Isaac. Sometimes we won't get exactly what we want, but we can have faith that God is with us. We can still have hope even when it's hard. As we journey with faith, we can believe in God's promises and be patient to see what will come. Now, it's your turn to wonder.
All right. Thank you for watching that video with me. I thought that was super cool. Abraham and Sarah's faith is really incredible. They were so excited to have a child together, but they had to wait so long. You know, sometimes we have to wait for the things we want. Having patience and having faith that things will work out is hard. And God is always here with us through all of those hard feelings. I'm getting impatient. I want to be able to go back to church and have Sunday school with you. But that's not possible right now, so we are making the best of it, and I'm excited that I get to talk to you anyway. I will be patient and have faith, and we will get to see each other eventually, and it'll be great. So let's play a little game before we say goodbye. We have been talking a lot about Sarah and Abraham. We've been talking about them for a long time. Let's see how much that you remember about their story. I'm going to say a sentence, and you can tell me if what I'm saying is true or false. Did that happen, or am I lying? Okay, first sentence. When God told Abraham and Sarah to move, they went to Disneyland. That's false. They didn't go to Disneyland. You know that. They went across the desert to a new beautiful place. And Disneyland is cool, but it wasn't Disneyland. Disneyland didn't even exist when Abraham and Sarah were there. Okay, next sentence. When the visitors came to see Abraham and Sarah, Abraham offered the visitors a meal. That's true. Abraham was a great hostess, or host. Abraham and Sarah were great hosts. Next sentence. Sarah and Abraham were 1,000,000 years old. They were pretty old. That sentence is false. They weren't 1,000,000 years old. They were old, but they weren't that old. Abraham and Sarah were 100 years old. For dessert, after the meal with the visitors, Abraham and Sarah ate pumpkin pie and ice cream. True or false? I don't know. It could be true or false. We don't know what they ate. I like to think that they ate a meal that made them happy. And maybe that was pumpkin pie and ice cream. Probably not, but it's fun to think about. We don't know what they ate. Next sentence. A guest told Abraham and Sarah that they would have a son within the next year. True or false? You're right, that's true. The guest told Abraham and Sarah that within a year they would have a son. Next sentence. Sarah had a daughter named Penelope. Did that happen? No, it didn't happen. The guests were right. Abraham and Sarah had a son within the year, and that son's name was Isaac. Number 6, Abraham and Sarah were faithful. True or false? True. Abraham and Sarah were very faithful. They listened to God every step of the way. Next sentence. God kept the promise that he made. True. God did keep his promise. He told Abraham and Sarah that if they moved, wonderful things would happen. And he told them that he was going to give them a son, and it happened. God kept his promises, even if they had to wait a long time and were a little confused. So on that note, let's make our prayer hands together and say a prayer. You can repeat after me. You can just close your eyes and listen, as long as you keep your ears open and your fingers together and quiet. Dear God, thank you for the patience and for helping me to be happy while I wait for the things that I want. Amen. Thank you guys for being here with me, and I will talk to you again next week. Goodbye.